Welcome to Taking Care of Business on Koerner Radio News Talk 1180 for the best in Saturday Talk Radio at 1 o'clock and on 1230 KGEO at 10 o'clock Saturday, and for the very best in Wednesday Talk Radio on 1410 KERI Wednesday at 1 o'clock. And guess what, Clay?
What's that?
We're on in New Mexico.
I thought we got bounced by Hannity.
No. We got bounced by Hannity?
I thought they were replacing our show in New Mexico with Hannity.
No, I think they're replacing Hannity's show with us.
Oh, well.
Or something like that. No, we are on KKIM in New Mexico.
Do you know the numbers there?
You're asking me that on the air? I think it's, well, I'm not sure.
For a good reason, so people know how to tune it in.
That's true. Thank you, Greg. Thank you. 1000 AM KKIM in New Mexico, Albuquerque, and Santa Fe. Your host is Clay Koerner, and I'm Marty Pay, and behind the big board is Greg Held, our producer, who keeps this thing in check. Hey, Clay, great show last week.
Very good show, yeah. Most of them are, at least that's what we think.
Well,
but we're prejudiced.
Yeah. We've got a great show lined up today, too. Our guest in studio for the first half of the show is Ed Valov from the Bakersfield Tea Party, a reoccurring guest. We've had Ed on before. And to talk about this hangover we're all suffering from after the election night. What do you think?
Well, it was definitely a shock. I think the bigger shock to me was probably how California went on some of the initiatives. I just didn't see that coming. I thought they'd remember what's happened to us in the past. I thought they'd be able to see through 30. Yeah. And we just didn't get it done. The thing about 30 is it was written into the budget already. So
yes.
So
the money spent.
Whatever they promised and whoever they promised it to, there's not going to be this relief that they claim there was. And I just thought we as people could see through that, and we failed to do that.
It's interesting, Ed. I'm not that surprised with the propositions. Other than Prop 32, I thought Prop 32 was going to pass. I really did. And that would have changed government as we know it in California, but unfortunately it went down in flames. But I think my biggest surprise was how much Obama won by, the 3 percentage points. I didn't see that one coming at all. I thought it was going to be a landslide the other way.
Well, I think there's a couple things I think about that. One of them is I'm really curious. A lot of people blame the Tea Party and right-wingers and for some of that. But, when I was actually doing a little research to come on this show, I went to the East Coast and was reading the editorials. And, they feel that the Tea Party has taken the Republican Party way to the right. And I found it interesting because I feel that the party has gone to the center or to the left. Romney started out running to the right, and in the later debates was kind of shifting to the left or to the center on some pretty big issues that mean a lot to Tea Party conservatives, and it irritated a lot of them. And I voted for him because I felt that he was our best alternative. But as I go to talk to people in the center of the country, not everyone felt that way.
But what do they do? Excuse me. Did they vote for a third party?
No, most of them didn't turn out. I mean, there was no motivation there for them, and you just got to kind of wonder what. And I was talking to Clay about this earlier. What is the face of that party? I mean, it's,
yes.
If those people think it's way to the right, and I'm thinking it's to the center or left. Who is that base?
I think I tend to agree with you. Unfortunately, I think the leadership is more moderate than the body of the Republican Party is. I think the body of the Republican Party is more conservative than the leadership is. And, you're starting to hear the blame game a little bit. But I think Romney wasn't conservative enough. And we had Tom Del Bacco on, for the California Republican Party head, last week. And he made a point that I thought was pretty good. He said, for a Republican to win the presidency, he's got to be an attack dog. And Romney backed off. And there were a lot of issues. Benghazi was one of them. The Middle East. I mean, he should have attacked Obama, and he didn't. He backed off. He was trying to be a nice guy. And I think that hurt him.
Yeah, I think Benghazi really did hurt him. There should have been something said. He was actually right in the very beginning, and he should have drove that home. And I also think Obama was very craftful in like the last debate on pushing issues that strike home with Tea Party conservatives, like education. He got Romney to talk about the Department of Education and what he liked about it, where a lot of Tea Party conservatives aren't so sure there should even be a federal education department. So, there was some things that maybe Obama did there at the end that kind of helped Romney basically piss off conservatives.
Our in-studio guest, Ed Valov from the Bakersfield Tea Party.
Ed, let me give you some facts, okay? First off, it's tough to beat Santa Claus, and Obama is Santa Claus. You go back years ago, what did Kennedy say? Ask not what you can do for yourself, but what you can do for the country.
That's close.
Yeah, I know it's close, but you got the gist of it.
Yes.
Right.
But that wasn't exactly, if you're going to quote somebody like that, at least make it
Did I say
close.
Quote? I just said Kennedy said, but it wasn't quote. But go ahead, give us the quote. Go ahead, give me the quote now.
Let's see. Ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country.
Okay, well, I was close. But now the new mantra from Obama is, what can the country do for you? And everybody votes, I think, based on what they're going to get back from the government, not what they can do to help themselves, other than freebies.
I'm going to agree with that. Romney was also right when he made the 47% comment.
Yes. 100% right.
And, he backpedaled from that, where I think he should have plowed forward. Now, there were some issues that he would have had to deal with if he did that, like our senior citizens and some of this disabled people. But, that was a very valid point. And when that's your starting point, when 47% is lost up front, how are you going to recover from that?
I don't think it was really 47%, because as you pointed out, the senior citizens on Medicare and on Social Security, a lot of them weren't going to be Obama supporters. However, a lot of them are misled, and they believe that Obama's doing a good job on Medicare.
Yeah.
They don't really understand how much money he's taking away from them. And I coined a new term last week, if you might remember. It's called senior abortion. And people better be aware, because under the new health care bill, senior abortion, the death panels, is going to be a common occurrence.
Yeah, Romney was right about the $700 billion that he's stripping away from Medicare. It's there, and why he wasn't more effective in driving that home, I'm not sure. Romney did capture, he did win that demographic of the senior citizens. So maybe he just felt that he didn't need to do that, but I think there was a lot of issues he left on the table.
Well, Axelrod is a genius, and he really made that election move towards Obama. He knew how to get the vote out, including driving people, voting early, voting often.
Well, and I think I think also Sandy helped the president.
Sandy helped.
Because here for the last 4 days you had, Obama looking very presidential, going out to all these, sites, trying to supposedly help, and all of a sudden Romney was on the back page. And I think that stifled Romney's momentum.
I think it did to some degree, although I don't know if I can jump into that camp that was why he lost. I think there was enough other issues that were left on the table. And, probably the biggest thing for me is when, with Sandy, was when him and Christie were having their little get-together down there, and I was very disappointed. Not that I don't want Governor Christie to work with our administration, but, you can go talk to the people that are living through this thing, and they aren't very pleased. at this point. And I think those points could have been made.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I think, for whatever reason, Romney backed off the last couple of weeks. I think he got bad advice. I think when he stayed on the attack, he did better, and he did much better in the polls. And once he backed off, then all of a sudden, what's the difference between him and Obama? There really was no difference. When we come back from the break, I want to talk a little bit about whether or not you think the Tea Party stayed home, because I think a lot of people in the Tea Party did. But let's talk about that when we come back. We'll be back in a moment on Taking Care of Business on Koerner Radio, News Talk 1180.